Hey, what's up everybody? Prospector here with Watcher Realms. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out Praetus. We're going to be going over his kit, we're going to go over his talents, over his awakenings, how to build them, the best artifacts, how to utilize them in the best way. Without further ado, let's dig in. Alright, so the first thing that we want to go over with Praetus is going to be his stats. So I'm just going to go over here to the info, total attributes. HP is at 13.5k. This is pretty okay. Attack is at 5528. It's not super high, but it is decently high, especially for a magic damage dealer. Defense is 871. Magic res is 2837. Cost is really high at 25, so he is hard to get out when it comes to arena and things like that. Block is 1, redeployment time is 60, attack interval is 2.6 seconds, this is average, attack speed is 100, crit damage is 150, rage regen is at 0, but rage regen auto is at 14, basic is at 10, and being attacked is at 6. Now, for his promotions, promotion level 1, he unlocks Eternal Decree. Promotion level 2, he enhances his talent. Level 3, he unlocks the passive Faithful Might. Level 4 is basic attributes. Level 5 is an enhanced talent again, and level 6 is more basic attributes. You do want to make sure you max this guy out completely. It's very important that you do so. Onto his skills. On the talent, when eliminating an enemy or casting an ultimate, increases damage, including true damage, by 10% and max HP by 10% permanently, stacking up to 5 times. So you can see if you just keep casting your ult, after the 5th ult, he's going to have a 50% increase to his damage and a 50% increase to his max HP. This is not going to fall off. Once you hit those 5 stacks, you're golden. This is just going to happen. You don't have to really worry about this in play. Use his ult and you're good to go. Now onto his basic here. It is a magic attack. He has a decent range. It's a pretty standard mage style range. He deals 120% magic damage to one enemy. Very standard. On the first skill here, Eternal Decree, it is auto. Gains 1 Light of Judgment that deals 30% damage to the hero's target every time he attacks. Up to 5 instances of Light of Judgment can exist at the same time. I'm going to put this up on the screen right now. If you're watching, it's going to take about 1 minute or so to get all 5 Light of Judgment on Praetus. It's going to show up on top of his little shield behind him there. You can see the little dots as they stack up. Once you get 5 of those orbs above his head, he is at max Light of Judgment, and they don't fall off. They will stay on there throughout the fight. The Light of Judgment is going to essentially just be attacking with Praetus. So you're going to see him doing attack. Every time he does it, once he gets 5, all 5 of those other Lights of Judgment are also going to attack at the same time. So he's going to have 6 hits every single time he hits. Onto Faithful Might. During the ultimate, basic attack deals 60% extra true damage based on the hero's attack, and Light of Judgment deals 30% extra true damage based on the hero's attack. Now this is really important. True damage is essential for APOC 2 and APOC 1, any Guild Boss 2 fights, or anything that has really high defenses or really high magic resistance. How true damage works is it's all based on your hero's attack. So that's going to help us a little bit with gearing later on. But with this true damage, he's easily able to bust through that high magic resistance and defenses of the Aegis shields on APOC 2 super easily, and without really having to think about it too much. Now onto his ultimate, Divine Truth. The cost is 700, initial rage is 400, and it lasts for 16 seconds. During the ultimate, increases attack by 30%. Now this doesn't seem like that big of a thing, but it is really important. If there's only 1 enemy in range, inflicts stacks of Radiant Erosion. If there is more than 1 enemy in range, inflicts Chain of Fate, and 1 stack of Radiant Erosion on up to 3 enemies in range. Radiant Erosion deals continuous true damage based on defense of the afflicted target every 2 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So he's going to start doing true damage based on the defense of the target. So the higher the defense, the more true damage he's going to do. Remember that true damage just kind of bypasses the defenses, but it doesn't involve crit damage or anything like that. It's all based on the attack. Now, Chain of Fate. When a linked unit receives damage, the other linked units receive true damage equal to 50% of the inflicted damage. So he's when attacking one target, the units that are linked to that target are going to get 50% of the inflicted damage. Very nice little addition. You can kind of see it going on in his ult. They're all linked here. They all have the orbs, little line in between them. When you hit in one, it's going to be doing 50% of that damage to the other two. Now, the coolest thing about Praetus is that he is an Arbiter Lord. If we go ahead and look at the Arbiters, the list here, we have a lot of cool units, including Ingrid in there as an Arbiter hero. You can put Ingrid underneath him, and then he can give his Lord bonus to him. We have Alicia, we have Eunomia, Init, Alistair. Alistair is an amazing hero, so is Init, especially for Guild Boss 2, APOC 2, or APOC 1, whatever you're using it for. We have Lady Alexandra, which a lot of people don't have quite yet, and it's going to be quite a while before most people get her, but it'll happen eventually. Pelagios is an awesome unit for the Immortal Codex. Then we have Constance. Obviously, having Constance underneath Praetus is going to increase her attack attributes by 15% from the Lord bonus, which is always really nice. We have Jira, we have Valkyra, and we have Fallon. All of these heroes are very good, with the exception of Eunomia. I'm not really a fan of using her, but she's okay. She's decent at what she does. She's just not going to benefit from a Praetus Lord in any kind of way that I can think of. Now, we do also have Elysia as an epic as for the faction, and she does something similar. She's kind of like a little mini Praetus, but she is a fighter. Now, what does this Lord bonus do? Increases a faction team member's basic attributes by 15%. This is huge for this faction. A lot of them doing true damage, a lot of them doing radiant erosion, which is based off their attack, and it's going to boost up their attack by 15%, and most of their attack is really high as well, so that benefit is massive. It gains 1 divinity every 15 seconds with a cap of 3. You can consume all divinity to cast Lightning of Truth. Now, this is something that's going to be separate. It's going to show up like a little separate hero ultimate button with a little lightning bolt on it. And what it's going to do is going to stack up to 3 times. If you get it to the 3rd stack and you wait that long, you're going to get the final verdict. The 2nd stack is going to be the Verdict of Truth 2, and the 1st stack is going to be Verdict of Truth 1. Verdict of Truth 1, for every 1 faction team member present, deals true damage equal to 100% of the Lord's attack to random enemies 2 times. So he's just going to strike down twice time. It comes down like a lightning bolt. Verdict of Truth 2. And this is where things get really beneficial for Guild Boss 2. For every 1 faction team member present, deals true damage equal to 150% of the Lord's attack to random enemies 3 times and inflicts stun for 0.5 seconds. So if you think about Titan Saw, you're going to be able to bring him in there, and as soon as he goes to charge up, you can start putting a couple stuns on the Titan Saw and try to hold back that, and it also puts a decreased attack on the boss before he hits you. Then we have the final verdict. For every 1 faction team member present, deals true damage equal to 200% of the Lord's attack to a random enemy 4 times, inflicts stun for 0.5 seconds, and the Sacred Blessing applied along with this effect has an extended duration. So now he'll hit the boss 4 times for each faction member present. So it really depends on how many faction members are on the team. If you really want to get the most kind of damage out of Praetus, you want to bring a full roster of Arbiters, or at least 4, maybe 5 even. Now the Sacred Blessing it's talking about here is down here, and each time Divinity, which is the Lightning of Truth, is consumed, each faction team members gain Sacred Blessing. Now the way I read this is every single time you use Lightning of Truth, it's going to apply this Sacred Blessing to your faction team members. For the Sacred Blessing, it's going to increase their damage by 50% for 8 seconds, and it includes true damage. With this faction doing mostly true damage, increasing that by 50% is enormous. It's huge damage. Now, because of the way the Lightning of Truth reads, it does state in there that for every 1 faction team member present, deals true damage equal to 100% of the Lord's attack. So that means that when you're using your Lightning of Truth, you want to make sure that Praetus is in his ultimate. And in order to make that attack as high as possible, what you're going to want to do is apply inspiration from your inspiration unit, whether it be Dolores or Constance or Beelzebub or whoever you're using. You're going to apply that to Praetus first, then you want to activate his ultimate, and then you want to activate Lightning of Truth. That's going to maximize the damage of Lightning of Truth, and obviously be the best way to use it to get as much damage as possible. As far as using it for the stuns, all you need is a Verdict of Truth 2, and that will give you that opportunity to have those stuns. but if you wait until you have final verdict, it's going to be 4 times per ally instead of 3. So it's best to just wait if you can, but if you can't, go ahead and activate Verdict Truth 2 to try to hold back that Titan Saw if you need to. Now, onto the Awakenings. Awakening level 1. When basic attack deals damage to the target, restores 3% rage. Of course, having more Praetus ults going off, increasing his attack more often, is going to make a huge difference throughout the fight. The more he's ulting, the more damage he's doing, the more he's going to be ready. You can kind of get a lot of ults off. This is a huge awakening. It doesn't seem like it, but it is massive. That 3% is going to make a huge difference in how often you can activate Praetus's ultimate. On Awaken level 2. Attack plus 5% and increases faction team members' attack by 5% as well. So this is going to boost his Lord bonus, but more importantly, that 5% attack on somebody that's running like 23k attack, that's going to be absolutely massive, especially because we're really focusing on really high attack for that true damage. So attack plus 5% is huge. This is a really good awakening for Praetus. Awakening level 3 is when the number of light judgment reaches 5, it increases his attack by 15%. Now remember, when we were talking about that, I said that the light of judgment is going to take about a little less than a minute to get the full 5 stacks, and once it does, he gets that 15% attack, and it's going to stay on him permanently because light of judgment does not ever fall off. Unlike Yovar or something, where the flying swords will fall off, Praetus just holds on to his stacks and just keeps attacking and gets that extra boost. So just from his awakenings, we have a 20% attack boost, which is insane, except for the Awaken 3 is a 15% attack boost post-deployment, and the Awaken level 2 is pre-deployment. So it's actually before you even put your gear on. This applies to the base. Awaken level 4, Rage Regen auto plus 1. Okay, more Rage Regen, that's great. Awaken level 5, for every 15 strikes received from Light of Judgment, the target receives 200% extra true damage based on Praetus' attack. This is just going to add up a lot. Every 3 attacks, you're going to get an extra 200% extra true damage to whatever enemy you're attacking, as long as it's consistent. So all you need is 3 attacks and you get extra 200% extra true damage. Because each Praetus attack hits the boss with 5 attacks from Light of Judgment. It's crazy, crazy awakenings on Lord Praetus. I love this guy. Now, onto the gear. Now we know true damage is all about attack, and most of the heroes that have true damage, you just want to build up their attack as high as possible. And there's not really anything else to really worry about with Praetus. You just need to know the gear sets. The best gear sets are obviously going to be Soulbound Arcana with Warlord. Warlord applies attack speed and attack bonus, and Soulbound Arcana is just going to boost his damage by another 50%. Types of stats you're going to be looking on for his gear, it's going to be something similar to this: attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, with attack bonus main, and flat attack would be preferred instead of HE bonus, unless you're struggling to keep him alive. You do want to get the HP right around 20k or so for Guild Boss 2. Now attack bonus here, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, flat attack. This is more along the lines of being ideal. And we have attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, and you'd want flat attack here as well. Now each piece you want to go with attack bonus as a main stat, which is pretty obvious if you ask me. Now on for the breastplate. For the Warlord, crit rate, crit damage, attack bonus, and flat attack is going to be preferred. For the weapon, you're going to want crit rate, crit damage, attack bonus, and probably going to want to pick up some HP percentage here as well. Now for some other good options for sets, go over the gear raids here. I'm not really too big on the tier 3 sets for Praetus. You need to really have more focus on that attack instead of crit damage, so it's not really a really good option. You could use the Doom for an extra single target damage of plus 18%. Night Terror increases damage by 25% for 3 seconds after making crit hits. You want to have him crit capped. You're probably going to be having his attack speed right around 1.5 second attack interval. You should be able to keep this 25% up there very often. This is probably going to be the best tier 1 set that you could use for Praetus. And on the left side for the weapon and breastplate, Calamity is going to be your go-to set. Alright, so now we need to talk a little bit about where to use your Praetus. And you can just pretty much go in here to the ratings that are in game. They are very accurate. Guild War, 5-star. Void Rift, 5-star. Titanic Ruins, 5-star. Tide, 5-star. Really high BP. Guild Boss 1, 5-star. I'd probably give him more like a 4.5. He's not on the top tier list for Guild Boss 1, but he does an amazing job. Mortal Codex, of course, 5-star. Single Target Arena, 5-star. Gear Raid 2, 5-star. He has the ability to one-shot the boss in Gear Raid 2, making it really easy for your auto runs. You don't have to worry about a lot of things. You can just kind of take the enemies out without having to worry about it. EXP Raid and Gold Raids, they give them a 5. I would say a 4.5. There's much better options for those stages as well. Gear Raid 1, the same thing. You can use him to take out the boss as well, and he can help boost heroes like Velcro to help you get through Gear Raid 1. And Faction Trials, of course, you can use him on the main Faction Trial. He's going to help you take out a lot of enemies in there easily. Gear Dungeon 1. I think the only reason I would really use Praetus in Gear Dungeon 1 is try to boost Velcro on the top side there. Other than that, I'm not really crazy about it. Arena Anti-Air DPS, of course, he can do a lot of true damage. It's not going to be a big issue for him. Not the best in slot, but it will work. Artifact Meteor Raid, yep, same thing. Gear Dungeon 2. He is doing single target damage, but his damage is so high that he should be able to cycle through a few enemies coming through without any issues. Arena AoE DPS, not so much an increment here. He is okay at it, he's not great. Gear Raid 3 is kind of the same situation, but early on, if you pull yourself a Praetus, he can definitely help you do a lot of damage to the boss down in the center lane there. Now, he does have a skin as well. It's called the Twilight Sun. It was available during the Frostfall Jamboree event. You did have to purchase it. I don't know if they're going to make it available in the future, but it just basically turns him purple. So now we got the purple Pope. I'm going to equip that. We're going to go into the guild boss one fight, and I can kind of explain what's going on as we do it. I'm just going to put it on normal. We're going to pair him with Aelin in there just to show how to use him. Actually, I'll put down Dolores as well. All right, so here we go. Now you can see here is that divinity down here. This is the Lightning of Truth ability. This is going to stack up separate from any else. Remember that the first one just does some true damage. The second one is going to start applying stuns. It's going to be based on the amount of units on the field. The third one is going to apply more stuns and more hits and higher true damage as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and put down Praetus on the field. I'm going to put Dolores. I'm going to put Dolores right here. We're going to put Aelin right here as well. Now you can see with this build right now, I'm normally sitting at 106k or so. Now, I want to get this kind of shot on view. You're going to see these orbs showing up here on the normal skin. They're going to be yellow. Now they are purple. He has one already. We'll put on 2x. There's a second one. Looks like a little crystal on this with the skin here. You can see it's going to take about a minute. So we start at 4:45. We get done by 3:45. We're good. There's the fourth. And it should be a little bit earlier. There's the fifth. It's right at 3:52. About 7 seconds less than a minute. So it's pretty decent. Now, when you're using his ultimate, the way you want to do this is you want to activate Dolores first, then hit Praetus. Dolores is going to apply the inspiration to Praetus, and then the Praetus' ult is going to increase his attack by 30% from there, and then the Lightning of Truth. And you can see the Lightning of Truth will just do a bunch of hits here. Depends on how many units are with the hero from the faction, but you can see all the little orbs on the back of Praetus are doing extra hits. Every single time he swings, there's one, and another 5 come along with it, so he does 6 hits per. Very useful, and you're going to end up doing the exact same thing going forward. You use it without Dolores, you can do that as well. Activate his ultimate, you see he changes his look a little bit, and then you can use the Lightning of Truth to hit the boss and get that increased true damage. Alright, so let's get out of the guild boss 1. I want to talk a little bit quickly about the artifact selection for Praetus. It's pretty straightforward and probably not going to surprise the most of you, but his artifact is always going to be Tear of Twilight. The increased attack, again, is going to help the true damage. It's going to help bring up all of his Lightning of Truth damage. It's just kind of a no-brainer. Now, if you don't have a Tear of Twilight, if you have a level 10 Tear of Twilight, I'd still suggest using it. But the other option you can use is a White Tower Trinket. When deployed, increases attack by 18%. When there are no adjacent allies, gains an extra attack speed increase of 35. This is pretty straightforward. Level 10 Tear of Twilight is going to give you 20% attack boost, and then even more attack for the base here on the artifact. But you will have to max out a White Tower trinket to get to 18%. So if you have the tier of Twilight, use it. If you don't, go for a White Tower trinket. If you can get it maxed out, all the better. But anyways, guys, I think that's it for Praetus. It's pretty straightforward. His kit seems really complicated. Once you watch this video, I hope it helped you understand everything that's going on with Praetus. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Really interesting fact is only 30% of my viewers are subscribed. So do me a favor, like and subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later if you find me annoying or anything, but I hope you don't. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep digging.